Welcome to Halo Headlines.
Welcome, Spartans, to Halo Headlines for the week of October 4th to 10th, part of Podcast Evolved, your home for Halo. I am your host, Aaron, and with me today we've got Oren.
Hey, everybody.
We are bringing you more Halo headlines in the run-up to Halo Infinite. But before we dive into the headlines, we will cover a little socials. We would like to take a quick minute to thank all of our patrons for their continued support. Thank you very much, guys. You help us do most of the stuff we do these days. If you would like to become a patron, you can go to patreon.com/Halo Podcast Evolved, and you can learn about all of the exclusive rewards and benefits that you get for being a patron. And with that, we are going to dive into the news. Oren, you're going to take us through our headlines for this week.
Yes, indeed. We have kind of three large pieces that we'll dive in. The first is Master Chief Collection Season 8. It is titled Mythic, and it launches on October 13th. I think that's about the time that this episode will come out, so after you listen to this, you can go download, check it out. We're going to get wealth of new features and content like we do every season, but the main highlights of this season is the fractured Halo 3 and Halo Reach armor that kind of plays off of the Halo Infinite fractured armor content that's kind of loosely not so canon information that's within the Halo games. So these fractured contents are based off of their armor styles based off of like medieval knights, Greek mythology, some like Norse or Viking mythology. They're out there. They kind of are more in line with what we've seen with Halo Online in terms of armor that doesn't really fit in the Halo canon. We've got a little bit of that from the Hayabusa getting some samurai stuff. We have the Achilles armor that has, some Greek heritage in there. But this armor is specifically themed to be not so canon, is kind of how Jeff mentioned it.
Yeah, the way I've sort of read it, and Halo Canon does a video on it, this stuff is almost alternate. It kind of is alternate reality humanity. There are hints and clues if you go and check out Halo Canon's video on it. He was talking about how, like in the medieval sort of mythology, it seems like a universe where humanity are fighting the flood. And I think in the Greek mythology, it seems like it may be hinting at a universe where humanity joined the Covenant. And I forget what the discussion was about the Norse mythology, but there's something there as well that hints at this other sort of like crazy concept for a universe. So I love the idea of there's a universe somewhere where Spartans in Plague Doctor inspired Spartan armor are fighting the Gravemind and the Flood. Like it's got cool potential. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I like going full off the deep end with crazy armor because it gives you something different to look at.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's pretty great. They have the toggle for those who want to keep the legacy experience in terms of the visual art style, but I think it's fun. It does throw a new flavor at it all, and I've been saving some of my season points. I don't have a lot, but I've been saving a few of them for this season to just kind of unlock a bunch of content right off the bat. So that's some big armor that's coming. We have a new map for Halo 3. It's called Icebox. It was with Halo Online, and it's a remake of the Halo 2 map, Turf. And the next big update for the Season 8 of Master Chief Collection is ODST Firefight 2.0. is kind of what they're calling it. It basically brings a lot of the customization options from the Halo Reach firefight into the ODST firefight. When Halo Reach firefight came out, it was kind of dubbed Firefight 2.0, and so Reach will bring a lot of those features into it and more, because 343 goes above and beyond. They're also going to bring in new enemy types, and so although it's not available at launch, you will be able to fight Sangheili and Flood enemies in ODST firefight when I guess it's 2022, because 343 said that Season 8 will be the last content update for Master Chief Collection for the rest of the year, but this content's not coming with the updates, so I don't know if they're going to kind of just slide in an update between now and the end of the year to enable Flood and Sangheili, or if this is like a super early 2022 feature. But apparently Sentinels as a new enemy type in ODST Firefight did make the cut for the October 13th release date. So more, have to just keep an eye on this a little bit longer, but that's just kind of the update in terms of what is launching and what is not launching. But you're still going to be able to really fine-tune those granular details and customization options for your firefight experience in ODST for Season 8. Next, we have the version next update of Halo Waypoint. It is currently slated to release on November 1st, with features including access to Halo Waypoint's news feed, the ability to personalize your Spartan in Halo Infinite using all of the customization options that you have unlocked, view your service record for Halo Infinite, Master Chief Collection, and Halo 5, view personal graphs and stats, track your Battle Pass progress for Halo Infinite, review current ongoing challenges for Halo Infinite, and this new update is just a unified experience across mobile apps and the web page on web browsers, and also much, much more content. So right now, Halo Waypoint has been a huge investment over the last 5 to 7 years from 343 with their web experience and making it available on mobile, but it's still connected through their kind of web application and programming that they do, their web development process. But now they're completely revitalizing it. They're designing it from the ground up to be a mobile app with integration on the web. And with that, even though I said all those cool features, there are some things that will not be carried through that currently exist on Halo Waypoint that will no longer exist on the Waypoint version next that they're calling it. And so to dive into those aspects, I'm just going to kind of read what 343 said, because they kind of summarize very well, and I kind of don't want to lose any translation in there. But basically, what's being left behind, we have Halo 5 Spartan companies browsing the Halo 5 user-generated content, and the Halo Wars 2 service record, the universe section of Halo Waypoint, and some older news articles. Spartan companies will still appear in Halo 5, but there will no longer be an interface that you can interact with to edit your company's info or your roster. So if you have any planned updates, we recommend you do them now. So I will take a look at this on Halo Waypoint. I will make sure that our information is up to date. If you're listening to this and you want to be a part of our Spartan company and are not part of it at the present moment, you should go over to halowaypoint.com. Make sure you leave whatever Spartan company you may be in, so then you can join ours, because you're not going to be able to request to join if you're already a part of another one. I'm not sure how many members we have, but we want to get to 100. So then those 100 members, if you continue playing Halo 5, you can continue working towards the Achilles armor if you really want it. We, didn't really get it just yet, and a lot of us are going to move to Halo Infinite. But if you prefer playing Halo 5 and you want some of those Spartan Company features, go ahead and join over there now. Your company's, this is going back to the blog post, your company's service record and commendations will not be visible, but they will continue to be ticked behind the scenes, and rewards, including Achilles, will continue to be granted Your roster will be locked with no way to add, remove, promote, or demote members. Spartan Company forums will no longer be available. So again, this is mainly a feature that is losing the online web support, but the feature still remains in the ecosystem of the game. The same can be said for Halo 5's user-generated content. It will be unaffected in-game, but the waypoint interface to browse your Halo 5 game variants, map variants, forge object groups will no longer be available. For Halo Wars 2, the website will no longer maintain the Halo Wars 2 service record. The good news is that Halo Wars 2's public API and third-party services will remain unaffected, and that data will continue to flow as it is created from the game into these third-party services. But if you want to archive your Halo Wars 2 service record from Halo Waypoint, you should do so now by taking screenshots, saving URLs, and doing some of those types of archival methods, so then the Waypoint side of the information is still contained. It just won't be updated and added or even viewed once this launches on November 1st. Then we have the universe section. They say that it is something of a relic of a prior age of Waypoint, standing only now as a monument to Grimm's sins. This content was central to previous video efforts that we have not maintained as a standalone web content. We also know the community has stepped in to fill this role in greater detail with more freedom and intrigue. Check out our friends over at Halopedia, for example. So yes, Halopedia has a huge database of lore information. That's where we get some of our lore information from. We also get it from Haraspis and his website over previously on Halo. But Podcast Evolve also has their own universe section that has been curated over the last few years by ourselves and Ian behind the scenes. So you can utilize those resources online for extended universe information. And lastly, only select news articles will be brought forward into version next, as only some will maintain relevance. I'm not really sure what that means, but you won't be able to probably go back 5 or 6 years and read the news articles from way back when.
I'm guessing it means just the last few things relevant to Infinite coming out, and that's just their way of saying, like, yeah, the stuff for Halo 4 will be lost.
As long as, like, some community content blogs remain, and like all the canon fodders I think should remain for anyone who wants to reference those. But like, I don't know, the weekly news back in 2018 about, you know, what Halo 5 playlist is double XP and all that kind of stuff, I can kind of see getting just lost through the weeds and into 343's archival, you know, hard drive. That's a lot of information. There's also an interview in this blog post that touches a little bit on what I said, but I kind of covered pretty much the important points there. If you participated in, like, you could have opted into it as an insider to kind of see what it's looking like. I opted in and made some suggestions because there was some like formatting issues that didn't really roll over when I was looking at it on my phone. So hopefully all those little quirks are fixed for release. And again, like the Halo Infinite game, this will be continued to be iterated and developed and supported long after its initial launch. So I think it's great that it's coming out ahead of the release so we can play around with it. We can see how it reacts, look at it on our phones, and kind of just go from there. Exciting stuff on that front. Aaron, do you have anything to kind of add on anything that was said in terms of what's being left behind or the new features that they're bringing in? It sounds like the one feature that you've been requesting, which is the change your Spartan on the fly, will be something that you'll be able to do.
Yes, I have played about with this app a little bit. I downloaded the test version for the flighting, so some of the stuff worked, some of the stuff didn't, which is probably to be expected because things were a little bit testy during the flight. But I like the idea of it. I like being able to... I think you can do that. You can drop like your boosts and stuff, I think, in the app as well, but none of that worked for me at the time. being able to change and tweak stuff and do things like that should be pretty cool. I think there were only some things you could customize from the app when the flight was going. So if you wanted to change your banner and your icon and stuff, if you saw anyone that had those modified, they went through either the web portal or the mobile app of choice to do that. I'm looking forward to it. Like, it's disappointing to lose things, but is it that big of a loss that we lose the ability to change the roster in the Spartan company? Like you said, most people are probably going to move on to Infinite, and like we might bounce back to Halo 5 every now and again, but I don't think it's going to be the end of the world for the things that we're losing. A little disappointing maybe that the service records for Halo Wars 2, they're going to stop maintaining them, but then again, I feel like that's probably, given the lack of attention it's received this last while, it's probably not surprising either.
I would agree with that. I would hope that Spartan Companies gets either like rebranded or brought back into Infinite, because I kind of liked like the type of camaraderie that it added, where you bring together this community and you work towards this goal of achieving all these kills and medals and all this kind of stuff to acquire a piece of armor and whatnot. So if it's not Spartan Companies, what is it? But I feel like Halo Infinite should definitely have something to that effect. I think it's also pretty awesome that like we can have 100 members that listen to the show that also want to be a part of our company and work towards something. That's also just really cool.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe going forward, whatever we get might not just have the 100 player limit, because that was the only issue we had at one stage. Was we were, like, a few people have come and gone since then and moved to different Spartan companies, but we were pretty packed for a while. I think we had to do one or two purges of people that I think Oren, you mostly handled it, but I'm sure we purged inactive players at least twice.
Yeah, back in like 2016, I would have to I would get all these requests and our company was full. So I would basically make like a monthly check-in to see who's been playing, who hasn't been playing, just because if you're not playing, you're not making progress and other people wanted to play. So yeah, if it's something that we need to do again in this new company system, if they were to add anything, I mean, nothing's been announced, but yeah, we'll see what the future holds. But I definitely would want Spartan Companies to return in some shape or form.
Yeah, some sort of integration would be cool, even if they were only going to go as far as like a Discord integration. Something like that might be interesting. You could just link your Halo account to something, even another service, and interact with it. But I'd like to have something back, because it was like we didn't complete the armor requirements. I do personally think the requirements to get that armor were quite steep, and maybe could have done with being a little bit lower, but I would like to have something to go for again in Infinite, especially if it's going to be as long-term a game as they're hinting at.
Definitely. Right, and the last bit that we have today is for those statue enthusiasts. There was a Master Chief versus Escharum statue announcement that is coming from Gaming Heads, and it is priced at the very affordable $469 US, and it is a pretty awesome statue of Chief like climbing over Escharum with an energy sword. Escharum has a gravity hammer, is kind of reeling back to sort of combat and counteract Chief's movements. There's a lot of photos on Gaming Heads on their website, so you can check out what this statue looks like, how large it is. I have some of the measurements here. It's about in inches, it's about 12 inches tall, 8.5 inches long, 17.5 inches wide, and then it weighs about 11.5 pounds. And then for the international folks, we have about 31 centimeters tall, 22 centimeters long, 45 centimeters wide, and it weighs about 5.2 kilograms. So it's a pretty hefty statue that would look nice on an office desk or a bedside table. And then another interesting note is that apparently there's 2 different editions. There's a UNSC edition and a Banished edition. And I wasn't able to find pictures of the actual differences, but the descriptions on the website says that each edition includes separate interchangeable parts for the statue. So I guess maybe there's attachments for Chief's armor in the UNSC edition, and then the Banished edition has armor attachments for Escharum. But yeah, that looks pretty cool. I probably won't get it. There was some chatter in our chat about it, that the price is pretty steep. But I mean, if that's what you're into, then it's a pretty good looking statue. A lot of detail in there.
It's nice looking, but it's pretty steep. There's been quite a bit of Halo merch lately that has been on what I would consider the eye-wateringly expensive side lately. It's nice, like it is a nice statue, but I'm not really prepared to pay the price of a Series X for it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it for this week.
Alright, well then that will keep us covered for another bit. Guys, thank you for coming and listening to Halo Headlines once again. If you've enjoyed this episode and you were unaware of who we are, you can go to the website. It's halopodcastevolve.com, and you can get links to all of our shows. There's Podcast Evolve, Mission Debrief, the Halo Book Club, and Builds with Blocks. Also, if you get a chance, go and listen to Josh and Will over at HCS Pro Talk. They will cover all things competitive in the world of Halo, and as we get into Halo Infinite, that will be busier than ever. Once again, special shout out to all of our patrons. Thank you for your continued support and helping us make the show. If you would like to go and see about becoming a Patreon, go to patreon.com/Halo Podcast Evolve to learn more. And with that, I have been your host Aaron, and until next time, evolved.
Evolved.